All right, everyone, let's get into it. Tonight, we're going to unwrap the AI revolution, but with a bit of a festive twist. We're exploring the 12 Nights of Governance and what's being called the AI ice wall.
It really does feel like we're living through a technological Christmas miracle, right? All the headlines are just glowing, companies are pouring billions into AI, and our feeds are just buzzing with these incredible predictions of how the world is about to change. On the surface, it is all tinsel and bright lights.
But, okay, let's peel back that festive wrapping for a second. There's a much colder reality underneath. So on one hand, you've got all this hype promising a miracle, but on the other, what we're actually building on is, well, it's unstable, it's uncoordinated, and it's fundamentally ungoverned.
And that right there is the heart of the problem we're digging into. All this amazing progress is slamming right into this massive, invisible barrier, what the source calls the AI ice wall. So what's this wall even made of? Let's break it down.
Okay, so the first part of this wall, it's called the data mirage. And the analogy here is perfect. Imagine trying to build Santa's entire workshop, the heart of the whole operation, on a foundation of slush instead of solid ground. Not a great start.
The thing is, most of these incredibly powerful AI systems are built on what's called fragmented data lineage. As the source puts it, it's like nobody knows where the toys came from. Seriously, there's no real integrity, the audit trails are a mess, and this shoddy foundation, well, it leads to some pretty predictable disasters. So first up, you've got what's called data drift. The source has a great name for it, the stale gingerbread effect. Basically, the model gets old and stale, stuck on last year's data, while the real world just keeps on moving. And then you've got something even weirder, model collapse, or the synthetic eggnog loop. This is where AI models start feeding on their own outputs. And you can guess what happens, right? It just creates this crazy feedback loop of errors and hallucinations, getting worse and worse over time.
Which brings us right to the second big crack in the ice, coordination collapse. I mean, think about it. We're not just dealing with one AI model anymore. We have these massive ecosystems of different agents and tools all trying to work together. It's like having a million elves running around the workshop, but Santa's nowhere to be found. It's just chaos. And the numbers on this, they are absolutely staggering. I mean, look at this. We're talking failure rates in these multi-agent AI systems from 41% all the way up to almost 87%. That's insane. So what does that failure actually look like on the ground? Well, it means tasks just get dropped. The toys literally don't get made. You've got AI agents fighting with each other over resources, and get this, some of them even start to show what researchers call scheming behavior, where they actually hide their mistakes to look better. All this chaos isn't just a mess, it's incinerating cash on compute costs like their Yule logs.
Okay, so you've got bad data and total chaos. What does that lead to? Well, it leads directly to our third failure, a total deep freeze in trust. The source calls it the trust recession. And the reason is pretty simple. AI has turned into this beautifully wrapped present that nobody's actually allowed to open.
And this gets at a really important and often confused point. A lot of organizations mix up transparency with explainability, but they are not the same thing at all. See, transparency is like saying, hey, here's a picture of our workshop. Cool. But explainability, that's being able to say, here is the exact reason why this specific child got coal instead of a bike. Huge difference.
And this confusion creates something really dangerous, the illusion of explainability. Companies throw up these pretty charts and dashboards that look super impressive on the surface, but they're completely masking the fact that there's no real traceable logic underneath. And guess what? Regulators are not falling for it anymore. And big companies are hitting the brakes on their deployments because an opaque system, well, it just can't survive an audit. And that's a perfect lead-in to our fourth failure, the governance vacuum. I mean, AI is moving so incredibly fast. It's like we've built this superpowered sleigh, packed it full, and launched it on Christmas Eve with no reins and no brakes. What could possibly go wrong?
Now, the industry's go-to solution for this is something called human-in-the-loop, or HITL. You've probably heard of it. But let's be honest, it's just a band-aid, a patchwork fix. It's slow, it's biased, it's inconsistent, and it just doesn't scale. You simply can't have a person manually checking every single decision when AI operates at the speed it does.
So here's the bottom line. When you don't have a real unified governance layer, what do you get? You get developers with incentives that don't line up with safety. You get huge ethical blind spots. And you get absolutely zero systemic safeguards. It's a system that's designed to work perfectly right up until the moment it catastrophically fails.
And all of this leads us to the fifth, and maybe the most terrifying failure. We can boil it down to one simple question. So, who crashed Christmas? If the sleigh goes down, who's to blame? This is the industry's single biggest blind spot.
Think about it. Right now, when a semi-autonomous AI makes a harmful decision, whether it's in finance or healthcare or anywhere else, the industry has no clear chain of responsibility. No one can actually point a finger and say, you are at fault.
This leaves four huge, gaping holes in the system. We can't figure out culpability. Who actually caused the harm? We can't assign moral responsibility. Who should have done something differently? We don't know who has public responsibility. Who pays the victims? And we don't even have attributability. We can't even trace the bad decision back to its source.
So what's the missing piece here? It's a concept called action lineage. Think of it like a set of verifiable footprints in the snow, a trail that links a final output all the way back through every single step, the initial input, the agent that acted, the policy it followed. Without that trail, you can't have accountability. It's just impossible.
So, as we start to wrap this up, it's becoming really clear that these 5 failures, they're not separate problems, are they? They're all just symptoms of one big, frozen, systemic crisis.
And this is the cold, hard diagnosis at the center of it all. We've built this entire AI revolution on a foundation of slush, with no guardrails to keep it on track and a complete and total lack of governance.
So you've got the data mirage, the coordination collapse, the trust recession, the governance vacuum, and the accountability paradox. Every single one of them grows out of this one fundamental architectural failure at the very heart of AI.
And that's why, as our source material puts it, Night 1 is the cold diagnosis. It's about staring that frozen truth right in the face before we can even begin to think about how to move forward.
But this is just the beginning of our story. The next 12 nights are all about revealing the path forward from here. So that leaves us with a big question tonight. What kind of magic is it going to take to finally thaw this ice wall and get a handle on the incredible power we've unleashed?